Type 1 on the Enneagram. Let's start with a little insight into the grain of sand of the personality pearl of the Type 1. As we layer onto this, never forget to stick with this foundation understanding. It is the central reason for this personality pearl. So if we have a look, we're going to be looking at the grain of sand, and here it is. The grain of sand is gut, anger, and resistance. This is some of the insight into the grain of sand for this particular type. So what do we mean? As a 1 on the Enneagram, I am unconsciously or consciously operating from my gut. In other words, I have a body-based instinctive response to life. I am moving into life and making decisions with the gut as my center of gravity. That doesn't mean I don't have a heart or that my mind isn't influencing. In fact, as a 1 on the Enneagram, because I am trying to be good, I use my mind to try and justify my gut. Sometimes I even fight with my gut because my mind looks for logic and reasoning in the attempt to follow the rules and the policies and the procedures. But I am a gut instinct type. Under stress, I go to anger. This can be mild irritation, grumpiness, all the way to full-blown hysterical rage. But as a type 1 on the Enneagram, I am trying to be good, which means that I try to manage my anger and I contain it. So the sense that you get from me as a type 1 is that I'm containing my anger. I might not even like to think of myself as angry because that admits to myself that I am not perfect, that I am human, and I'm working really hard to contain my anger. I have a fierce inner critic that is always looking to be perfect, to try to be good. So my anger is contained and managed. I have a body-based unconscious resistance to reality as a first response. When I meet life, especially if I find things are below standard, things are not perfect or good, there is a body resistance that happens. My body actually feels the impact of that. So if we add this grain of sand now to my primary statement, which is a polarity. My primary polarity as a type 1 is I'm trying to be good, which means that I'm trying not to be bad. I'm resisting everything that is bad. And bad means below par, not perfect, immoral, not following the rules, etc. And you'll see that this highlighted word amongst the keywords here, the first highlighted word is impact. This is a key to my grain of sand also. I feel impacted in my body by anything that triggers this polarity, anything that is triggering my efforts to try and be good. When I feel impacted, I feel it in my gut. I have an anger response and I push against it with resistance. Let's add the keywords now. As a type 1 on the Enneagram, I am trying. There's a lot of effort. I strive for ideals. My inner critic can become an outer critic, where I am looking to either impose or educate or teach or instruct others in how to be good. I tend to be quite strict on myself and others. You see, I want to improve things all the time. I'm striving for mastery in every area of my life. Perfect and perfection is what I am working towards, which means I'm very hard on myself because perfection is so difficult to attain. I think in terms of right or wrong, no gray, nothing in the middle. Something can't be 60% right. It's either right or wrong. I find myself attempting to fix myself and others, often carrying the burdens of others and carrying responsibilities that aren't even mine. I'm hyper responsible because I always feel like I'm trying to be correct and I'm trying to correct others. Rules are important to me, and I have a vision of what the world would be like if only people followed the rules. You can imagine I have high standards. I tend to be on the realistic side, but I move the goalposts higher, always to try to reach these high standards. I might say the word should a lot to myself and others because I believe there is a way that you should behave, there is a way you should dress, there's a way you should live. I tend to have high morals and I enjoy structure. Have a look at my cartoon. Notice that my face shows some of this containment, some of this real disciplined feeling, and sometimes even a sense of not approving. Notice my little finger is pointing, and this pointing finger is a wagging finger. It's a you should and you shouldn't. On my gut is a little check mark for correct, right, because that is what is important to me. Now have a look at my stress point and my secure point. When I operate at my lowest expression, I tend to display the worst characteristics of type 4 on the Enneagram. What this looks like sometimes is I explode with theatrical anger. I don't like to think of myself as angry, but when I'm provoked, and if finally someone breaks the rules or is below par, all my suppressed anger can come out in a very explosive way. Even around small things, the proverbial "you didn't put the toothpaste cap on" explosion, or finally at the restaurant where someone gave me the wrong meal, there could be this hyper response. So when I do collapse into 4 on the Enneagram and I express some of the worst characteristics of 4, it tends to be theatrical. Mountains out of molehills, as they say. And I might find myself feeling quite martyred, where I might start to complain or describe how much I am carrying because I am endlessly trying to fix and endlessly trying to correct the world. There can be some of the 4 martyrdom coming out here. What I need to do is encourage myself to move to my secure point, which is very difficult for me because this is my polarity. Type 7 on the Enneagram represents an opposite of everything about me, because 7 is free-spirited, youthful, spontaneous, and fun. And I've been working quite hard to be responsible, almost growing up too quickly. But at my highest empowered and enlightened expression, I take on this freedom. I start learning to color outside the lines. I relax. I give myself the freedom to really relax. And this enables me to find my wisdom, to realize that right and wrong, although very important, are flexible. They're flexible because in each moment there is an appropriate response that can change. At my highest expression, I start to use my gut instincts as intuition, and this softens me. This enables me to flow like a river instead of a straight line, where I can bend appropriately to each moment. This enables me to have fun, to let my hair down finally, and to walk with dignity and grace in my life. That is type 1 on the Enneagram.